Not every betrayal screams. Some betrayals whisper through silence, hesitation, or subtle disregard. And if you're not grounded, you'll miss them again and again. But a stoic man sees them coming. He knows what not to tolerate. Because when you allow small betrayals, you train the world to disrespect you. There are betrayals so subtle, they hide in kindness. They look like patience, like forgiveness, like understanding, but they erode you silently. And one of the most dangerous things a man can do is tolerate the intolerable for the sake of peace. Seneca warned, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." Many betrayals we endure come not from others, but from our unwillingness to draw the line. We stay silent, hoping things will fix themselves. But silence can be self-betrayal when it replaces boundaries. The first betrayal you should never tolerate is disloyalty masked as support. Someone who smiles in front of you but undermines you in private doesn't deserve access to your energy. Your presence is a gift, not a given. And the stoic man does not beg to be respected. He simply removes himself where respect is absent. This isn't about reacting in rage or seeking revenge. It's about awareness. It's about having the discipline to observe patterns and the courage to walk away from anything that violates your inner peace. Epictetus once said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. You are not only responsible for what you allow, but for what you continue to entertain." Let the first betrayal be the last warning. The second betrayal you must never tolerate is the betrayal of inconsistency, when someone's actions never match their words. In the beginning, they promise support, loyalty, even love. But slowly, their behavior fractures. They cancel, they forget, they shift the blame. And each time you make excuses for them, telling yourself they're busy, they're tired, they're just going through something. But the truth is simple. Consistency is a form of respect. And when someone fails to show up for you repeatedly, they're telling you who they are. Believe them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This isn't just about you being the better person. It's also about having the courage to expect the same from others. When someone's presence is a pattern of confusion, mixed signals, and broken promises, your clarity must become your boundary. Emotional inconsistency drains more energy than outright conflict. It keeps you in limbo, stuck between hope and reality. Stoicism teaches us to anchor ourselves in what we can control. You cannot control if someone is consistent, but you can control whether you allow access to your peace, your time, your life. Many people confuse forgiveness with tolerance. But forgiveness is internal, it's for your peace. Tolerance, on the other hand, is external. It defines what behavior you allow to stay in your life. Don't let kindness become a gateway to being mistreated. Don't let compassion blind you to patterns. And above all, don't let loyalty to someone else become disloyalty to yourself. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." If you value clarity, peace, and honesty, then demand it in your circle. Not with anger, not with ultimatums, but with calm departure. Leave quietly when their actions scream louder than their promises. That is how the Stoic man responds, not by pleading for consistency, but by becoming it himself and walking away from anyone who refuses to meet him there. The third betrayal you must never tolerate is betrayal by neglect, the slow erosion of attention, respect, and emotional presence. Neglect doesn't always look like abuse. It looks like silence, distance, distraction. It's the kind of betrayal that creeps in quietly, disguised as being busy or needing space. But it leaves you feeling invisible, unimportant, and forgotten. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And if your environment is filled with disregard over time, even your self-image begins to fade. You start to question your worth, not because you are unworthy, but because you're surrounded by someone who no longer sees you. This kind of betrayal is dangerous because it doesn't scream, it starves. Starves the connection. Starves your joy, starves your identity. Stoic man does not demand attention, but he also does not beg for presence. He simply notices what is missing and chooses to remove himself from the places where he's treated as an afterthought. Neglect teaches you something powerful: the importance of reciprocity. Relationships should be a balance of give and take, not an endurance test of how much silence you can survive. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." This doesn't just apply to mentors, it applies to lovers, friends, family. If someone's neglect diminishes you, the most stoic thing you can do is walk away, not with resentment, but with resolve. Sometimes we fear leaving because we've invested so much. But remember, time spent in neglect is not an investment, it's a drain. You're not losing love when you leave neglect. You're reclaiming your energy. Epictetus reminds us, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. If you believe you deserve respect, attention, and presence, then live that belief not by preaching it, but by choosing spaces where it's reflected. You teach others how to treat you by what you tolerate. Let neglect be the final line. Not because you hate them, but because you finally love yourself enough to stop settling for less than presence. The Stoic man does not chase attention. He radiates presence and walks away when it is no longer met. These three, betrayals, disloyalty, inconsistency, neglect, may wear different masks, but they share one thing in common: they all test your boundaries. As a Stoic man, you are not here to control the actions of others. You're here to govern yourself to protect your peace, your values, and your time. Not begins by identifying what you will never tolerate again. Marcus Aurelius once reflected, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your relationships constantly demand you shrink, explain, chase, or endure, those are not relationships, they are distractions from your purpose. Each time you allow a betrayal to slide, you dilute your self-respect. Each time you excuse what hurts, you drift from your values. But each time you walk away from what doesn't align, you move one step closer to becoming unshakable. A man grounded in Stoic principles does not fear solitude. He uses it to sharpen clarity. He knows that silence can be strength, that letting go is not failure, that dignity, once compromised, is rarely returned. You see, betrayal is not just what they do to you, it's also what you allow against your better judgment. The deeper betrayal is often internal, when you ignore your own intuition, your needs, your truth. Seneca advised, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Craving approval from someone who betrays you is a form of emotional poverty. True wealth is peace. True strength is walking away. In the end, this is not about vengeance, it's about alignment. It's about choosing people who echo your standards, not your wounds. So let this be the final reminder: don't tolerate what drains you. Don't negotiate with what disrespects you. And don't explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. The Stoic path is not about cold detachment, it's about warm clarity. It's about standing so firm in your values that betrayal finds no place to land. Walk with silence. Act with purpose. And remember, you are not here to prove yourself. You are here to protect your peace. That is the way of the Stoic man.